National parks are beautiful. Millions of people visit them every year. Most come back with photos, memories, stories, but some people don't come back at all. These are 3 true stories from America's national parks. Stories about the moments when nature stopped being beautiful and became something else. My boyfriend Jake and I had been planning this hike for 8 months. Half Dome, Yosemite. We gotten our permits in the lottery. 1 in 1,000 chance. We weren't going to waste it. We started at 6 AM. The weather forecast said clear skies all day. Perfect conditions. The first 8 miles were easy, gradual, beautiful, and then we reached the cables. If you've never seen the half-dome cables, let me explain. It's a 400-foot vertical climb up a 45-degree granite face. There are 2 metal cables bolted into the rock, about 3 feet apart. You pull yourself up, hand over hand, using wooden planks as footholds. It's terrifying even on a good day. We started at 1:30 PM. There were maybe 30 people on the cables, spread out, moving slowly. I was in the middle. Jake was 20 feet below me. Ahead of me was a couple, David and Melissa, maybe in their 40s. They looked experienced, calm. David was about 10 feet above me. At 1:47 PM, I heard thunder. I looked up, dark clouds rolling in fast, too fast. "We need to get down," Jake yelled from below me, but we couldn't. There were 15 people above us, 10 below us. The cables are only wide enough for 1 person at a time. You can't pass, you can't turn around, you're trapped in a line. The thunder got louder, and then I felt it. The cables started humming, a low vibration running through the metal. I looked at my hands wrapped around the cable, and I felt it getting stronger. At the bottom of the cables, a ranger was screaming, "Get down! Lightning! Get off the cables!" But we couldn't. David was 10 feet above me. He looked back. His eyes were wide. "We have to move faster," he said. Melissa, his wife, was right behind him. She nodded. David reached for the next plank, and that's when the lightning hit. It struck him directly, a blinding white flash. The sound was deafening. David's body convulsed, his back arched, his hands let go, and he fell. I watched him fall 800 feet, silent, tumbling. He hit the granite below. I heard it. Melissa screamed, a sound I'll never forget. She was frozen, hands locked on the cables, staring at where David had been. And I was still holding the same cable, the cable that had just been struck by lightning. My hands were tingling, burning. The metal was vibrating harder now. Jake was screaming from below me, "Let go! Let go!" But I couldn't. If I let go, I'd fall. If I held on, the next lightning strike would kill me. The storm lasted 18 minutes. It felt like hours. Another bolt hit the summit above us. The current ran through the cables. I felt it in my teeth. When the storm finally passed, I looked at my hands. They had burn marks, red lines across my palms, from gripping the electrified cables. It took 2 hours to get everyone down. Melissa had to be physically removed from the cables. Her hands were locked, cramped. She wouldn't let go. They pried her fingers off, one by one. David's body was still at the base. I didn't look. The investigation took 3 weeks. The National Weather Service had issued a thunderstorm warning at 1 p.m, 47 minutes before the lightning strike, but the rangers at the base never received the alert. Communication failure. If we'd known, we never would have started up the cables. David would still be alive. I looked into the numbers later. 25 people have died on the half-dome cables since 1948, 9 from lightning strikes. The cables are metal, bolted into granite. They act as conductors. When lightning hits, the entire system becomes electrified, and if you're holding on, you're part of the circuit. Yosemite now requires permit holders to check weather updates the morning of the hike, but storms develop faster than people can descend. If you're halfway up when the thunder starts, you're trapped. The park knows this. They can't fix it. The only solution is not to go up, but people still do. I haven't been back to Yosemite. I can't. Every time I close my eyes, I see David, letting go, falling, and I feel the cables, humming, waiting for the next strike. That hiker survived, but David didn't. The next story I'm going to tell you, the victim didn't just die, he dissolved. June the 7th, 2024. 4 of us drove out to Yellowstone for a week. Me, my roommate Colin, and 2 other friends from college. We were celebrating graduation. Colin had never been to Yellowstone before. He was obsessed with getting the perfect photo. For Instagram, he kept saying. On day 3, we went to Norris Gyson Basin. It's one of the hottest, most acidic thermal areas in the park. Boardwalks wind through the basin, elevated, safe. There's signs everywhere. Stay on the boardwalk, ground is fragile, water is boiling. We'd seen the signs 100 times that week, but Colin ignored them. We were at Emerald Spring, a beautiful pool, bright green, steaming. Colin wanted a photo at the edge, just 1 step off the boardwalk, he said, for perspective. Dude, no, I said, the signs. It's fine, the ground looks solid. He stepped off. The ground gave way instantly, like stepping through ice. Colin fell through the crust, into the pool. He screamed, the water was boiling. I ran towards him. A ranger 50 yards away started sprinting. Do not enter the water, she screamed. Colin was thrashing, trying to get out. But every time he touched the edge, his hands slipped. The skin on his face was turning red, then white, blistering. He screamed for maybe 20 seconds, and then he stopped. The ranger reached us first. Get back, she yelled. Get back from the edge. 2 more rangers arrived. They had a long pole, a rescue hook. They tried to reach Colin. His body was floating, face down now. One of the rangers hooked his jacket. He started pulling, and the jacket just came apart. His skin underneath was coming away. The ranger let go. Stop, the lead ranger said. We can't safely retrieve him. They made us leave him, escorted us back to the ranger station. We were hysterical, screaming, crying. The lead ranger, Captain Morris, he sat us down. I need you to understand, he said. The water in that pool is approximately 200 degrees Fahrenheit. The pH is 2.1. That's more acidic than battery acid, more acidic than your stomach. So get him out, I yelled. Morris shook his head. We can't. The water is too hot and too acidic to enter safely. Even in protective gear, your friend's body will dissolve. We'll attempt recovery tomorrow morning when the water cools slightly, but I need you to prepare for the possibility that there won't be anything left to recover. We stayed at the ranger station all night. None of us slept. At 6 a.m, Captain Morris came back. He told us everything. We returned to Emerald Spring this morning, he said. Your friend's body is gone. The thermal features dissolved most of his remains overnight. We found some clothing fragments, some bone pieces at the bottom, but we could not safely recover them without risking more lives. What do you mean? Dissolved? One of my friends asked. The combination of heat and acidity broke down the organic tissue, Morris said. I'm sorry, there's nothing left to recover. The official report listed Colin's death as accidental death by thermal immersion. Remains not recoverable. I looked into it later. It's not uncommon. Since 1890, at least 22 people have died in Yellowstone's thermal features. Most of the bodies have never recovered. The water dissolves them completely, in some cases, within 24 hours. Colin wasn't the first. In 2016, another man, also named Colin Scott, he died in the exact same way. He stepped off the boardwalk at Norris Gyson Basin, fell into an acidic pool. By the time rangers returned the next day, his body was gone, dissolved. Yellowstone has 10,000 thermal features. Most are unmarked. The ground looks solid, but it's just a thin crust over boiling, acidic water. The park can't mark every danger. There are too many. The only rule is, stay on the boardwalk. But every year, someone steps off, for a photo, for a closer look, to hot pot, to soak in the thermal pools illegally. And every year, somebody dies. I didn't go to Colin's funeral. There was no body to bury. His parents held a memorial service, empty casket. I couldn't face them because I was there. I watched him step off the boardwalk and I didn't stop him. You know, I still think about that. The way his skin looked, red and then white. The way the ranger's hook just pulled his jacket apart. The way Captain Morris said, "There's nothing left." 24 hours. That's how long it took for my friend to disappear. Not just die. Dissolve. Like he was never there at all. That hiker watched his friend dissolve, and there was nothing he could do. The third story I'm going to tell you. 2 people went to sleep in a tent and never woke up, and nobody knows why. June the 9th, 2025. I was 3 days into a solo backpacking trip on Isle Royale. It's a remote island in Lake Superior. No roads, no cars, no cell service. You get there by ferry or seaplane. It's one of the least visited national parks in the country. That's why I went. I wanted to be alone. On day 3, I hiked to South Lake DeSaw Campground, a backcountry site off the main trails. I'd reserved it weeks in advance. When I arrived at 4 p.m, I saw a tent already set up. At first, I was annoyed. Someone was in my site. But then I checked my permit. I had site 3. The tent was at site 2. Okay, no problem. I set up my tent 20 yards away, boiled water for dinner. The whole time, I kept glancing at the other tent. It was completely still. No sounds, no movement, no one came out. At 6 p.m, I walked over. "Hello?" I called. No response. I waited. "Anyone there?" Nothing. I walked closer. The tent was zipped shut. From the inside, I could see the zipper pull on the interior. "Hey, I don't mean to bother you. I just wanted to say hi." Silence. I stood there for a minute. Something felt wrong. At 7 p.m, I radioed the ranger station. Isle Royale had a limited radio network, spotty coverage. I got through after 10 minutes. This is Ranger Kelly. What's your location? South Lake Dessau, Site 3. There's a tent at Site 2. I think someone might need help. They're not responding. Can you check on them? I tried. The tent is zipped shut. I don't want to open someone else's tent without permission. Okay, stand by. Ranger Kelly arrived by boat 6 hours later. It was after midnight. He had a flashlight, a medical kit. Show me, he said. We walked to the tent. Kelly knocked on the poles. National Park Service, is anyone in there? No response. He unzipped the door and immediately stepped back. Call it in, he said. We have 2 deceased. Inside the tent were 2 people, a man and a woman, both in their sleeping bags, eyes closed, peaceful, like they were just sleeping, but they weren't breathing. Ranger Kelly wouldn't let me near the tent. This is a death investigation now, he said. He radioed for backup. It took another 8 hours for the investigative team to arrive. By then, it was 9 a.m. I sat at my campsite, waiting. They asked me 100 questions. When did I arrive? Did I hear anything? See anything? I told them everything, which was nothing. 2 weeks later, Ranger Kelly called me. The couple had been identified. Chris, 34, and Lauren, 32, married, from Wisconsin. They'd been on a 5-day trek. Last check-in 4 days before I found them. The autopsy results were in. Cause of death? I asked. Undetermined, Kelly said. What does that mean? It means we don't know what killed them. No trauma, no injuries, no signs of struggle, no carbon monoxide poisoning, no drugs or alcohol, no persistent medical conditions. The toxicology report came back clean. Both of them died at the same time, between 2 and 3 a.m, lying in their sleeping bags. They just stopped breathing. How is that possible? I asked. We don't know, Kelly said. It happens sometimes. Sudden onset medical complications. That's what we write in the report. But the truth is, we don't have an explanation. Has this happened before? There was a pause. Yes, he said, 4 times this year. Isle Royale is historically one of the safest national parks. The average is 0 to 1 death per year. In 2024 and 2025, there were 4, all of them unexplained, sudden onset medical complications, undetermined cause of death. The park doesn't have apex predators except wolves, and wolves don't attack humans. There's no dangerous gases, no toxic plants in that area, just people going to sleep and then not waking up. I left Isle Royale the next day. I took the first ferry out. I didn't finish my trip. I couldn't, because every time I closed my eyes, I thought about Chris and Laura lying in their sleeping bags, peaceful, unaware that they were dying. The case is still open. The park released a statement. 2 individuals were found deceased at a backcountry campsite under undetermined circumstances. The investigation is ongoing. That was 8 months ago. No updates, no answers. I thought about it a lot. What could kill 2 people at the same time, in their sleep, with no warning, no symptoms? I've read every theory, cardiac arrest, undetected poison, but nothing fits, because it happened to both of them simultaneously. But here's the part that keeps me up at night. I was 20 yards away, in my tent, breathing the same air, drinking the same water. Whatever killed them, it could have killed me too. I got lucky. Or maybe I didn't. Maybe it's still out there, waiting.